Okay, guys. You guys have no idea how fucking happy and relieved I feel right now. And I'm gonna get into that here in a bit. We're gonna start with this level. Okay, so some of you guys know if you're like really close with me. I don't know if Ashton and Purple Ethan are gonna watch this, but you know, they're gonna know by looking at my Discord posts, hopefully. But when I do these videos, it's mainly just me and Green Ethan watching them. And he has been aware of the whole situation as well. But, as you guys know, again, this mainly goes for the people that I'm really close with. Not necessarily all my viewers, but the ones that, I keep posted all my life. They know I've been that I've been needing an ID for a while, but we've never really had the stuff. Because you have to have like certain stuff to get it. So, what we tried to do first for a couple of years is we tried to get guardianship done, but it didn't work out. And then my dad was also dealing with his leg, his hip, and his getting his teeth pulled. So, that set us back. But a couple of weeks ago, he set up a DPS appointment, back on June 12th. I told you guys about how that went down. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. Even my dad, he couldn't get his driver's license renewed. And it's supposed to be easier to get your stuff renewed, because you'll have your current or previous, you know what I mean. You'll have the ID that you've been using those last 5 to 7 years. You'll have that ID and that driver's license as proof of identity. But my dad couldn't even do that. So, they set us up an appointment for, approximately 2 weeks later. And to be exact, it was, 12 days later. So, my dad and I, we tried again, and I'm finally getting my ID, guys. I'm fucking finally going to be getting my ID in a couple of weeks. Yeah, because they don't give it to you right away, because, they have to make it first, which it can take time. And then, what happens is, they mail it to you. So I still have to wait a couple of weeks to officially get it, but I did what was necessary. The girl that we got, she accepted our documentations as enough proof of my identity. Then I had to do all the necessary things, that they need for the ID. Because how it works is, you have to give them you have to give them proof of your identity, such as like a skull ID, which we did that, a birth certificate, which we did that, which I was a little worried about the birth certificate because I was actually born in Virginia. So that doesn't really prove, I don't know if that really counts as, proof that I live in Texas. Because I was actually born in Virginia. But yep, my birth certificate. But I also had like my high school ID. I went to school in Texas all throughout my life. So that is proof that I live here in this particular state. And then my school records, I believe my dad called them. I don't really know what that is, but it helps. And then we also took we don't really have an actual shot record, but what we do have is the 2 vaccine dosages I got, because when you get you guys may remember this or not, I'm not sure, but when you get your COVID vaccines, they'll give you like a piece of paper, when you get your first dose, and then, they place the date of when you got your first dose. And then I don't remember if they place the date for the second dose or, as well, or if you have to wait until you actually get the second dose. That part I don't remember, but I do remember how that we had that vaccine card. I'm glad my dad kept it, because if he wouldn't have kept it, then we probably wouldn't be getting my ID. I would probably be stressing out. I probably even wouldn't be doing this video, because the thing is, I was originally planning to take a break from doing, recordings and premieres, because, Ethan's been gone. I'm not sure when, but I'm not sure why, or, when, blah, 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 when, like, how, why, when, like, when he's coming back, but, yeah. Unfortunately, there's not really much of a trace of him right now. I'm not getting any notifications on Wattpad. His profile's not showing up in my list. So I'm not sure what's up. So I was planning on holding off on doing recordings and premieres until, oh my god. Okay. I know, Manton, you don't really need to be healed, but I don't want to take any chances on the moles missing. Ooh, nice! And I didn't want to eat anything because she had full HP and MP. Yeah, I mean, clerics do get better when you unlock aura, but, they're really good in terms of support, in terms of healing, but in terms of offense, ugh. Yeah, they're just kind of mid until you unlock aura. Then aura is the most reliable offense skill you can use. But yeah. I'm not really sure what Ethan's up to, but he's been gone for a couple of days, so I haven't. That's why I haven't been doing recordings or premieres for a couple of days. So yeah, I originally wasn't planning on doing this video, but I feel like I had to, because I had a really good day today, and I wanted to talk about it while it was still fresh up on my mind, so yeah. I'll just premiere this next time Ethan comes back and says, "Okay, we can do a premiere," and I'll be like, "All right, cool." And then like he'll know, because I'm excited to tell him, because he's one of the ones that has been aware of the whole situation. Oh my god. Oh my god. Thank you. We'll keep this one. The other one is, the polka dot one is cute, but, and I do like pastel colors, but they're too, like, light, you can barely distinguish the colors, so. I like light pink, but not, like, too light, to the point where you can hardly distinguish the colors, so, yeah. So yeah, if it wasn't for the vaccine thing, we would probably still be at this hurdle. We probably still would be trying to figure out what to bring them, but we finally got it done, and I am so relieved. Because I was worried it was going to take a while, and then we were going to have to go back and try to do the guardianship. But the thing is, one of the things about guardianship is my dad can sign stuff for me. But I don't really need him to do that, I can sign myself. In fact, I had to do it a few times at the DMV, or at the DPS, as it's mainly called here in Texas. Because, the DMV or the DPS, most of it doesn't just issue driver's license, which, as some of you guys know, I don't drive, so this was just a regular state ID that I'm gonna be getting in the mail in these, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. I mean, I'm still a bit cautious and weary because, I'm worried about, sometimes the mail, sometimes I'm worried about stuff that won't come in the mail, but, so I'm still a bit cautious, but overall, I'm really happy and relieved that we were finally able to give them enough documentation. Because, most of you guys who have gotten an ID or a driver's license before, you guys know how it works. You have to give them, like, certain, documentation that can prove your identity. Which, like I said, me and my dad brought, a high school ID that I had, a school record, my birth certificate, and then my COVID shot record, which had my 2 dosages from September 2021. And, if they accept, if they say it's enough, you have to sign a couple of papers, you have to, like, put your, like, thumbprints, and then you have to get your picture taken. That's what I did, I actually had to sign my signature, like, a total of 4 times. 3 times on paper, and then 1 time on this computer thingy. Because, they, when you get your ID card, like, it'll have your picture, and then it like, some information about you, and then your signature. And I think it might have, like, your prints, too, but I'm not sure where on the ID card. But yeah, I had to sign some papers, I had to, with my signature, I had to, sign it on this little computer thing. And then I had to get my right my left and my right thumbprints, scanned, and then my picture taken. And and like when I was signing those papers and getting those, my thumbprints, my picture, I knew it was a good sign. I was thinking, oh my god, it's actually happening. It's actually happening. Because if they say no, then, they're just not going to let you do any of that stuff. There's no need if they're not going to, if they don't think you have enough documentation to get an ID. So, yeah, it felt nice actually doing all that because, I knew that was a good sign. And Green Ethan, I'm not sure if this is the case for you, but when you get like an ID or a driver's license, like it usually expires on your birthday. Green Ethan, your driver's license, yours may expire on December 25th, if I'm not mistaken. But, if I don't know if there are any exceptions, but I remember a couple of weeks ago or so, my dad was telling me that they usually expire on your birthday. Because on my temporary paper, I forgot to mention this part, but they also give you a temporary, like, ID but it's just like on a normal piece of paper that you can use until you get your actual ID in the mail. And then the expiration date said June 9th, 2032. And as most of you know, June 9th is actually my birthday. Alright. Hold on. Can we use... I think we can. I don't know. I'm gonna try this. I don't know if it works on bosses. Oh, it actually does. Nice. Because I know a lot of bosses are not, are immune to... Oh my god, now... are immune to, status effects, so... Yeah. Oh my god. Ethan, seriously? Oh, nice. Alright. But yeah, so... me and my dad did that because, like I said, he also had to get his license renewed, so we were both doing that stuff. Signatures, thumbprints, and getting our picture taken. Oh my god. No, there's no bang. So yeah, my dad and I did that. Then we came back home because he wanted to drop off the stuff because he wanted to make sure my stuff was like safe. He didn't want to risk it being in the car, so, or in his truck. So we went home, dropped that off, picked up my brother, and then we went and ate at Huddle House. And the beauty of Huddle House is not only they are really good, but I think they actually sell like the full menu all day, so because I'm not a fan of, like, people dictating when you can eat certain foods. I'm one of those. I'm kind of. I guess you can say I'm a rebel in in terms of that. I never understood why. Ooh, nice. People say, "Oh, okay, this is breakfast, this is lunch, this is dinner." But Huddle House, like I said, it serves the full menu all day, so it could be morning and then you could have like a burger and fries, or it could be nighttime and you could have like, eggs and bacon. So I actually got a burger and fries because, that's the classic. That's my favorite thing to eat at restaurants, as you guys know. So yeah, we did that. The only thing I'm kind of stressed out about right now, this is unrelated to the ID situation. This is another situation entirely separate, but my brother was talking about one of his friends that he was near the area, and then my dad was telling him to tell him to come over here. So, and I'm skeptical. I get really skeptical about company and stuff. Hell, I'm even skeptical about my own grandparents coming over. Don't get me wrong, it can be fun and it can be enjoyable, but not so much my grandfather, but my grandma. She can be a bit uptight, and then like I'm worried like when she comes over for like lunch and stuff. Like I'll be forced to like pray and stuff, which that's another good topic. I don't want to get into it right now because I kind of just want to talk about other stuff, but yeah, that might be another good idea for a future rant during like a future episode of this. But I will say this. I'm fine with like, I don't have a problem with all religious people, don't get me wrong. But like, some people have like, harmful beliefs, and like, they try to push their beliefs onto others. And then, like I said, harmful beliefs. Like, for example, they may like have anti-LGBT beliefs and stuff, That's the religious people I have a problem with. But if you're like respectful about, other beliefs, and, you support human rights, then I am completely fine with those people. It's just the forceful people that don't believe like people should have their own beliefs and like, like certain rights, like LGBT rights, those are the people I have a problem with. But yeah, I'm just skeptical about like, company in general, especially if it's like a friend of mine, a possible friend or my dad or my brother's coming over, because you have to like be a certain way. You might feel left out. So I'm really skeptical about how that would go down. Because like I said, you have to like behave a certain way, and you may feel left out if like, you have a sibling who has a friend coming over but you don't. So that's the only negative thing on my mind right now. But luckily it doesn't feel as bad since the whole finally getting my ID situation kind of overrides it. So the most I can do is just I can cross that bridge when we get to it, and just focus on the whole ID situation for now. Oh my god. But yeah, once we finally get my ID in the mail, then which should, like, I think I mentioned this, but it should be approximately 2 weeks. In 2 weeks. So let's say around July 8th. Because that's exactly 2 weeks from today if I'm not, if my math is correct, but it should be like, July 8th, give or take a few days. Okay. Let's try to minimize the use of basic attacks here, cuz oh, nice. Because they're gonna be dumbasses and they're gonna get distracted, so. Oh my god. Fine, just eat a banana. That's what I don't like about the cleric. They're, like I said, they're good when it comes to healing, but there's really not much you can do in terms of, like, offense or, like, attacking, you know what I mean? So. But yeah, Sweet Whispers does work on bosses. Rest assured. But yeah, once we get my ID in the mail in the next couple of weeks or so, we're finally gonna get my social security. And then, like, and I should finally hopefully get, like, a bank account as well. Okay, I actually have low HP, so I can actually heal, and it'll be useful. Good. Alright. We are kicking ass. But yeah, it feels good to finally get over this hurdle. Because my dad was worried that we didn't have all this, that we, like, we didn't really have all the stuff that we needed. So what we did was we tried to do guardianship for, like, it took us over a year to, like, try to do this guardianship, but different things got in the way. Our first lawyer that we, retired. I think it was actually last year. We found, or, well, I don't know, like, if that's when he retired, but, that's when we found out, Because I remember we went to, like, his office or something, but it was locked. So I think my dad, like, called him, and he retired, but he gave him a number to another lawyer. So I think my dad went over there for, like, the initial appointment, but it never got done. My dad, like, checked his email for, like, months, but it never got done because, Eva, you are really pissing me off. Because the thing is, lawyers have, like, actual cases to take on. So they don't always have time to do guardianship because being a lawyer, oh my goodness, it is stressful from what I've heard. So, oh, close one, wow. I'm actually going to put my me in the stable in case I land on the orange. I can just sell the ticket for some money. Because we already have the outing tickets. I don't really need it. I can use the Jolly Jaunt tickets for money. Money. Oh boy. But yeah, that's why it's such, oh, okay, good. But yeah, that's why it's such a pain to get guardianship done, because a lot of those lawyers just don't have time to do it, because they are taking on, like, actual, like, cases, So, thankfully, we finally decided to not do the whole guardianship thing for now. Now, if we come to a point in my life where we absolutely have to have it, then we might try again. And hopefully we can, like, maybe dig deeper and, we'll have an easier time with it, but for now, I don't think it's necessary. Because that's one of the things that really set us back, trying to get this whole guardianship done, only to have no avail. So, yeah. But, I don't know why. I mean, we already got I'm finally going to be getting my ID, That was the main hurdle. And, I can sign, I can sign. So it just doesn't really seem necessary to get or to get for my dad to get guardianship. When I'm finally getting my ID and when I can, like, I can sign stuff on my own. So yeah, but eventually my dad just gave up with the whole ID thing. I think it was actually like in October of last year, he finally said, you know what, fuck it. We're gonna try to get this stuff done without it. But it took us a while to finally get DPS appointments because he was dealing with, like, his leg and stuff. And, like, work. He was dealing with, like, work. So it took us a while to finally get some DPS appointments sorted out. Thankfully, my dad had his surgery back in April. And he's been off of work. He doesn't go back to work until, I believe, like, August. Like, August 4th, I don't know. But he has an orthopedic appointment on the 30th. Not June 30th, July 30th. I believe. And then, like, he'll go back to work the following Monday, I believe. Because I don't think July 30th falls on a Monday, so yeah, it'll be weird for him to return to work in the middle of the week. It's better for him to wait till, like I said, the following Monday. I mean, yeah, it's nice because you only have a short week, but at the same time, why not take some extra days and be refreshed for Monday? You know what I mean? So, yeah. Now that my dad's hip is a lot better, and now that he has time off of work, it's easier to get this stuff done. So, yeah, and by the time my ID comes in the mail, he should still have the rest of that July off that we can that he that we will have for us to get some more stuff done. Cause oh my god, because he said that he said that the first thing we're gonna do is get my social security stuff done. Not too long after we get our ID, my ID comes in the mail. We're getting my social security. Because you know what's silly? That's something important that you can take to the ID place. For your proof of identity. I mean, it works for people who are just getting it renewed, but it's pointless for like if you're getting your ID for the first time, like me, cause you need your ID to get your social security. You need your ID for a lot of stuff. That's why this is such a big deal to me. I know some people watching this would be like, it's just an ID. Jesus, why are you so happy? You don't understand, guys. You know what? They're barely hanging on. I'm just gonna use my basic attack. Yeah, see? And it's like, you guys don't understand. We've been trying to do this for years, and we need to do this to get my other stuff done. So, yeah. It may not seem like a big deal to some of you guys, but this is huge for me. But yep, in approximately 2 weeks, we're finally going to be getting my social security done. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be doing a Miitopia episode next week, but I definitely want to do one once I get my ID and then and we get my social security stuff done. Alright, finally, some magic. Oh boy. Okay, good. A lot of the times, even when the wheel looks like that, it will land in the gray area, and it happens more often than you would think. Whew, but we got it. Yeah, we got it. I know I'm not gonna keep the scientist job, but I still want to get some upgrades on my clothes and weapons. Because I don't want to be underpowered, you know what I mean? So, I still want to get a few for each category. Now, Green Ethan, on the other hand, you know, he's going to be a priority because he's going to be a main teammate. And, you know, his scientist job is the permanent job. Oh yeah, we already know what this is all about. I can't ever remember if the lever's here or here. We'll go here first, because I can see what's up there. But yeah. We are closer to finally getting my bank account, which is what I'm really looking forward to. My dad said having a bank account can be a pain in the ass because you have to, like, pay a monthly fee out of your bank account, too. Which is fucking stupid. Why do you need to... I mean, I get maybe paying to open one up, but... you should not have to pay a monthly fee just to have it, you know, that's freaking stupid. So yeah, my dad told me it was kind of a pain in the ass to keep it, to have one, but honestly, I really want it, because it'll be a good way to save up money and stuff. It's nice having gift cards, in, you know, a lot of people recommend using them over a bank account. Because that's the point of gift cards, you know, you give them to people so they don't have to spend their own damn money. But it's freaking pointless nowadays. Green Ethan, I don't know if you've ever used, like, gift cards, but a lot of, like, you know, online retail stores, even freaking Apple, you know, iOS. It seems like half of all the services, even like major ones like Apple, for some reason they keep declining your payments. Like when I tried to, like, add, like, a gift card as a payment method, it's been declined. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, it just defeats the purpose of having a freaking gift card. You know, I can understand, like, maybe obscure third-party, you know, online, like, you know, websites. I can understand, you know, ones like those declining, but, like, the major ones like Apple, are you fucking kidding me? And, you know, even my brother and my friend Eli, they've had this issue before. So it's not just a me issue. Like, I don't understand it. I do not. If anything, people should be encouraged to use a gift card for these online services instead of their bank account. Because, like I said, that's the whole point of having a gift card. So people don't have to go into their bank account and dig into their their actual savings to pay for something. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like I said, I understand some cases, like when it comes, like I said, third party websites that are maybe obscure and like not trustworthy, you know. I understand that, and I understand like, you know, subscriptions as well. Well, at least if it's like auto renewal, because if you put like a a gift card that only has a few $100s like on auto renewal, you know, that could cause problems, and that could run out of money quick, and you may eventually run into a wall where you don't have money any more money on the gift cards. So yeah, I understand like, you know, those two situations, third party websites and, you know, subscriptions. But for like, if you just want to buy something on Apple, like, come the fuck on. Apple is one of the biggest corporations or whatever there is. Like, I don't understand why these cards stopped getting accepted on even fucking iOS services. The only thing it should like decline on is, again, subscriptions. And even subscriptions, like, I think it should like depend. Like, if it's like auto renewal, then yeah, that should decline. But if you're just like buying like, okay, if you're just buying a year of like something, like a year of YouTube Premium, you know, then you can be able to buy it. I mean, actually, I think luckily, actually, YouTube Premium works, because I've been using these gift cards for YouTube Premium. Because as you guys know, ads nowadays are absolutely atrocious. They're just absolutely excessive. So yeah, I think that's a good issue to solve when it comes to subscriptions. You can just buy a year, and then instead of like having on auto renewal, you can just, you know, buy it again like when the year is up, you know. That's a good alternative to subscriptions, which is a good idea when you're using gift cards. It's just a shame, because I don't want to have to use my bank account all the time, you know. I want to just use my gift cards, but I can't, because, well, I can, but for most stuff nowadays, I can't. Even on PayPal, or when you're trying to like commission someone, you know, I've tried different, you know, online services, because, you know, I want to be able to buy commissions from people. But again, I can't, because I can't even link it to PayPal. Like, it's just a mess. Oh my god. Eva, you are really pissing me off. We need a fucking mod to get rid of this bullshit. Or even like a mod that gives us the catalog, like, you know, as from the start, and we can just buy anything we want from there. We need like a proper shop system. Either that, or a mod to get rid of wrong purchases, or a mod to rework the catalog. The catalog does make things a little bit easier, but if you're still trying to unlock like items for the first time, you know, it won't have it, so you still have to wait until the item unlocks. And then when it does unlock, you can give it to someone else who has the same job. Okay, I don't know if this is the lever area or if this is this down southern part is the leather area. I don't always remember where everything exactly is exactly. But yeah, I've tried to look into why car declination is such an issue, but it's been of no help. Because like I said, what's the purpose of having gift cards if you can't even use them for half of of everything? You know what I mean? Like, it's so freaking frustrating. But yeah, I can't freaking wait until I get my bank account. Now that now that I'm finally going to be getting my ID, which was a massive hurdle for us, I feel like I'm going to be more motivated to work on my books. I think my debut book will be the autism spectrum book. I originally, because, that book and, the book, about, attraction to fictional characters, like, they have been my priorities, but I feel like the attraction to fictional characters one, that one's a little bit more, I guess you could say, taboo. I mean, autism, people get shitted on just for having autism as well, but I feel like it'll be an easier topic to tackle. So I want to find an easier topic to tackle before moving on to something even more taboo, you know what I mean? I need to gain trust in my readers before tackling topics that, rile people up. So, yeah, I'm going to start with, I consider my book about the autism spectrum to be the most safe one. Because all of these topics are, controversial, in their own way, but the one about, the autism spectrum disorder one, I feel like that's the safest way to go for a debut book. So yeah, I'm probably gonna be working on a lot on that for the time being. And then once I get a good reputation started up, then I can work. Well, I've already been working on it a lot, but I can publish my self-shipping or, attraction to fictional characters book. I don't know if I've mentioned this on here yet, but once I get close to, publishing my first book, I also want to start up an Instagram account. I wanted to do TikTok too, but I don't know if that's gonna work out, because there is a chance that TikTok may be banned for good. You may remember back in January, TikTok got banned for like not even a day. Well, I heard, I think on September 17th, it could actually be banned for good. Unless Donald Trump finds like a non-Chinese owner to buy. It's just it's fucked up. But yeah, so I don't know if TikTok's gonna work out, unfortunately, but I would love to, because TikTok is a good place to promote and be an influencer, I guess. But with the whole TikTok nonsense going on, there is a chance it may be banned for good, but we'll see what happens when September comes around in a few months. But Instagram should be safe. So, if I can figure out a good way to manage that TikTok account, I can do that as well. But I'm mostly gonna be leaning towards Instagram for now. And I will use that to promote my books. I can use it to gain a following. I can get other people to, spread the word about my books. And I know not everyone is in the financial position to be buying books, so I want to post some, self-help content and, maybe some motivational content, stuff like that for free, because, this isn't just about making money, because I also want to help people in the process. And I know, and like I said, I know not everyone is in the position to be buying books, and oh my god. Oh, okay, good. The knife is gone. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. I'll use my Instagram account to, to introduce myself, because I want people to get to know me as, me as a person, not just, oh, I'm an author. I write self-help books, I want people to get to know, like, other stuff about me, too. So that'll probably be my first post. Meet the author or something along those lines. And then I'll just tell different stuff about me. So yeah, that would be a good idea for like a first post. And then, like, you know, I can just post, like I said, I can, like, post motivational passages. Maybe I can even make some videos about stuff. Because that's what I'm going to do for TikTok. Because, you know, TikTok, isn't really known for posting as many, like, actual pictures as Instagram. Instagram, or TikTok, is usually, you know, making videos and stuff. So, yep. Man, I would love to use TikTok too. I know a lot of people are skeptical about the TikTok community. But at the same time, you know, it's also a good place to put yourself out there. So I'm definitely curious about September. We'll see what happens to TikTok. Oh, you know, I should have Mountain use Sweet Whispers on him, huh? So he can take more damage. Oh wow, we're already an hour and 2 minutes in. I might end this off here pretty soon. But yep, I definitely plan to. Like I said, a TikTok account, I'm not sure because of the future of TikTok looks pretty bleak, but Instagram, definitely. Because if you're gonna be an author and stuff, you have to you have to be able to put yourself out there. You know what I mean? You have to be able to find ways to promote your books. Otherwise, how are people gonna know about them? You know what I mean? So, yeah. Hopefully, having an Instagram account will help with that. I know a lot of people like to keep their account private for safety reasons, but this is going to be a public account. Because, you know, you can have multiple Instagram accounts depending on, like, their purposes and stuff. A couple of my accounts are private. Because, you know, because I post stuff that, you know, because, I mean, I keep it vague on this channel, but I'm a self-shipper, so if I'm going to be posting self-ship content, I want to keep my account private, because you know how people are, like, when they shit on self-shipping, so, yeah, I keep my account private if I'm, like, doing that, but if I'm going to create an account where I'm going to need to, like, promote myself and put myself out there, you know, it's just not going to really work if you put your account on public, or, yeah, on private, you know, you have to have a public account if you really want to do that, so. Oh my. Eva, what is your problem? You haven't been you wanted to buy stuff 4 times and you haven't bought anything since. So, yep. Okay, I want to at least try to get the lever path unlocked, and then we'll end it off. Okay, here it is. Have a closer look. Look. As we know, the pattern is don't pull it, pull it, pull it. There we go. There we go. There we go. Alright, guys, I think I'm going to end off this episode now. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you later. Goodbye.